Now then, how we doing? Some of you that follow me on Snapchat and Instagram will know that earlier this week we had this arrive. Well, yeah, I think you can see what it is, but you've got to look beyond all the green slime and the filth. 2 hours later, with a pressure washer, it looked like this. So here we are. This is a JCB, what's known as a 3C Mk3. Right, well basically why did we get it? To be fair, it's fairly straight. Tin works fairly good, not knocked about too much. Cab isn't too bad. Now these cabs always rot out, I mean they rot away totally. This one's got rot here, so basically we can just cut out and put another panel straight in here. Do it all properly. There's a piece of, I'll show you in here, box section here, and then that flat on the outside welds to that. So we get that folded up. Same in the back here, you can see, look, this back's gone. That should continue around that sort of height across the back here, piece of box section. Again, easy to fold up, easy to do. This side's fared a little worse, but again, easy enough with the, the same system as the other side. The door is actually quite solid, which is good, and the back window is intact. Right, inside. Bit different to what you've been seeing me on recently. But this is really the forerunner of everything you've seen me on. And I'll explain a bit about that in a minute. Right, so controls. Now, this is what I've been telling you about the conventional controls. Obviously the ones I've been having here beside me on the armrests. And these are where you can still get them here, still get them in this position. So there's your levers for your jack legs up and down, and your controls are here. The thing is, these are not like a conventional machine. So normally I would pull back on this to lift the arm up, dip her out on that one, slew on that one, and crowd the bucket on that one. But in that shape and that shape. These are on an X, there and there. And the boom is on this side, and the dipper is on this side, and so it does get confusing when jumping from machine to machine. Like the other ones, slides across, so you can, work from one side, as we said, type before and type from the other. It's not just fixed in the middle. So you can slide it across, and you do that by this lever here, which is the Hydra clamp, which we talked about before. Do you remember there's these, see them down there, here, and then there, these hydraulic locking clamps. Whereas before you had basically a skid unit of a tractor, so an engine and a gearbox and back end, all as one sort of unit. You can split them, but they're all one unit as such. The Powertrain model had 3 separate units. So you had the engine, which drove a powertrain transmission, and then that drove a back axle as such, see? So it wasn't all linked like a tractor, and I'll demonstrate that in a minute. So here you are, you've got 4 speeds. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4. There's no clutch, but there's a dump pedal. So if you push that, it actually stops the transmission. There's your throttle on the floor. And then you've got your forward and reverse. Now they had played around with torque converters earlier with a Brockhouse torque converter, and it was basically still the same tractor skid unit, but with a torque converter in the area of where the normal gearbox was, because up to this point the majority of these, the JCB Mark 2s and 3s, and that was still available actually, even up till this age, which is 1980, this model. You still had the choice of having a clutch and gearbox. So this is really, as I said, this is the prototype of where it all changed. And obviously this hasn't got a clam shovel on it, so you've just got a conventional, you know, lever. But again, this isn't back for lift and forward, it's over here. It's in an X shape. I suppose it's meant to be for ease of operation, but I'm not so sure. Good as that one, see? They're on an X rather than straight forward and back and left and right. Right, a quick lesson. Pay attention at the back. To get an idea of, you know, basically a skid unit which is what JCB were using originally. We'll use the Deere. I mean, they didn't use John Deere. They used originally they used Ford, the Fordson, based on the Fordson Major, and then they were developed onto the Nuffield, which was a track that turned then into the Leyland. And when the 3CX was developed, it continued with the Leyland engine originally before changing to Perkins. So right. We look here, this obviously John Deere, we've got the side plates, which obviously gives strength. And a lot of tractors, Fords and various other tractors, don't have the side plates, and they actually take the stress from the front casting, and it's transferred in the block, the actual engine block takes the stress, and then it goes to obviously the transmission and back axle. But a lot of the times you'll see when they're fitting loaders on a tractor, they'll actually put a side plate or brackets that actually join the back to the front, so the stress isn't all on the engine block. Right, if we have a little look, hold this up here and get under here, down here. This gives an indication. If you can see, well, here's your engine here. And that, as I said, this is four-wheel drive, but it gives you an idea. So the engine is here. The next thing we've got then is the clutch housing and the gearbox, and eventually that's up into the, you can see up there, the back end where obviously the axles all are. So you've got your axles there. The back end where all the linkage on, the 3-point hydraulic linkage. But basically, you know, although you can split them down, they work as one solid unit. So that whatever implement you got on the back there, a plough or whatever, the strength and rigidity is right through. You know, and it's basically one solid unit. All right, as you say, this is literally has just come back, so lots of leaks and all that, and we've been cleaning it down so we can see where all the leaks are, and you know. But this is what I was saying. So here's your engine, your sump here, your engine up there, and then that was all used to be part of as I said, a complete housing, sort of gearbox housing, and then straight into the back end, just like a tractor is. But this is, you can see here, this bell housing here, and that unit, that's a sort of separate unit. So you got the engine, then you got the transmission, and that's that powertrain. And as I said, that's very similar in concept to the JCB Sitemasters and contractors and that are sold today. The concept is the same. So then you've got, you can see the transmission brake, and then there's a prop. See, so it's not straight in, you know, it's not like a tractor where it's straight in the back end. There's a prop there, and then there's the back axle across there. So 3 separate units, and that was really the start of the big revolution, really. JCB developed what they called their Hydra Chassis, which was basically an entire framework, which, rather than relying on the skid unit to take all the strain when you're mounting loaders on, the whole thing was a complete framework, and the skid unit was mounted within that. So all the strength was on the chassis. The reason it's called a Hydra chassis is these bits here are actually hollow, and they contain the hydraulic fluid. They act as a reservoir. And at the back, that part of the chassis is the fuel tank. So the whole thing acts, as I said, as a big container and framework on which to mount, you know, the loader arms and everything else. That then enabled JCB to develop the Mk3 Powertrain, because the three separate components as such didn't need to be mated together for strength, because they had the strength of the Hydra chassis, and that's including all this back here. As I said, it's all one big frame. So you know, they could actually be mounted individually with other bearers and mounting plates, obviously, but as I said, it made the whole job a lot easier. Right, well, why would I have an old dog like this? Well, back as a kid in the 70s, when these were new, JCB put out obviously loads of promotional stuff, and I was given a poster, and it was basically a drawing and a cutaway, colour drawing and cutaway of a Mk3. And as a kid I just thought, I'll have one of them one day. And as time went on, I ended up driving them, and you know, not the powertrains, either the earlier ones with a conventional gearbox, or you know, 3CXs. But I'm just gonna get these bits done on the cab, get it serviced, get it mechanically right, and I'm just gonna use it around the yard. It's not like I'm gonna go out and work and earn a living with it, is it? So it's a bit of a nostalgic plaything. But it's going to be handy around the yard, because when all the other machines are out, or you know, there's never anything in the yard when you want to unload something. And this has got a set of proper, they were an option at the time, back then, set of fold-over forks, similar to the ones I've shown you on the 3CX. It's an old machine. It's not so sure I'd want to go out these days and earn a living with it and tramp around the country like I do with the old 3CXs and that, but she's alright. She's alright. Anyway, I'll keep you updated as we go along. There'll be times we'll come back to this and do a bit more to it, and maybe I'll film when we do the service on the engine, do all the filters and everything. As I said, just a, you know, bit of interest really. So, thank you all for watching, and look after yourselves and mind how you go.